So David, tell me what you're showcasing at this year's Innovation Showcase that's put together by Telecom Council Silicon Valley.
Absolutely. So what we're showcasing is a concept called Magnify Capacity Reach. What it means is take all of the world's Wi-Fi, stitch it into one network, curate it, quality control it, and provide a service to mobile operators to connect their users to it. So what we're going to be demoing here is really how the size of our curated virtual network, which is at 12 million hotspots, how that compares to a local city. We're going to use the example of San Francisco and New York to show you how big the network is and how pervasive it is. So if you look at a city like San Francisco, it turns out that through city records and so forth, you can determine that the average operator has about 100 base stations that they've deployed. And those base stations provide coverage in blue and capacity in green. Those are macro cells, and that provides about 150 terabytes per month for a 4G, 3G mix. So over time, what happens is it gets congested because more smartphones, more usage, and an operator has to take some action. The first thing that they can do is put in more base stations. They could also cell split, or they could add small cells. So suppose they added 100 small cells to the equation. That's what you see here in blue. The light blue is the small cells that have been added, the capacity that each is represented, and that gives them a fix temporarily in terms of giving them enough capacity to handle all of that demand. But then as time goes on, data is growing 50 to 90% per year. You see that it starts to get congested again. Now, an operator long before this would happen would have to do something again. They'd probably have to put in more base stations, more small cells, something of that matter. So it turns out that another thing an operator can do as part of a HetNet strategy is they can actually leverage our curated virtual network, which is really all of the free open amenity Wi-Fi that exists here in San Francisco. It turns out that we have 27,000 hotspots in San Francisco, and that would compare with the 200 or so macro and small cells that I was showing you before. So if you compare those two things, it's in our network, it's 19,000 terabytes per month compared with a combination of what they had before, which is about 250 terabytes per month. So it's 75 times capacity, more capacity for one particular operator. Even if all the operators started using it, it would still be 25 times more capacity than exists today. So there's an enormous amount of capacity really to reach into every nook and cranny in the network and provide a much better user experience. The next thing that I want to show you, which is directly related, is this is all about how big the network is, but how are people actually using it? So it turns out if we go to an actual slightly bigger city here, which is New York, and we actually look at, here's Manhattan right here, and we actually look at usage in New York. This is a 24-hour movie showing you what happens in a 24-hour period. And you can see the first hour here of unique usage in terms of what's going on. Now, if I click this button and I go and I show you how it accumulates over 24 hours, what you see is it's almost as though a blizzard has hit New York, right? The only thing that where nobody's using Wi-Fi is the Hudson, and here's Central Park. Turns out there's this one little cafe in the middle of Central Park that actually has Wi-Fi. So the only places that aren't having Wi-Fi are really the places where you can't put Wi-Fi, right? But everywhere else, there's a tremendous amount of usage. So this is what we announced this week, is that while we process 1 million connections per day in New York City, we're actually at a cumulative level doing 1.5 billion unique connections per month. So there's a tremendous amount of people that are on our network already that are getting free open access to public amenity Wi-Fi in a quality controlled manner.
So the question I have is, how does DeviceScape provide quality of service and quality control to your carrier customers?
Absolutely. So the first thing that we do is we have software on the handset, and the software on the handset actually what it does is it measures the quality over time of each hotspot. And then we add those hotspots into our curated network only if they pass the test. So for example, there's 190 million hotspots that we can see, but only 12 million have made it into our curated network. Some are secure, some are inaccessible, but also some are low quality. And so we're only going to put the highest quality in there. And then when you connect, we're actually going to measure the quality in real time from the software on the device. And then if it becomes a bad connection, like let's say we're here at the convention center and too many people are using it, we'll move you to a different network. We'll move you to cellular, we'll move you to a different Wi-Fi hotspot. So it's an always best connected experience, which is the reason why the majority of our customers are using the service.
How does DeviceScape make money?
We sell a service to mobile operators. And that service is a monthly service. So what the mobile operator does effectively is they automatically connect their users to this network. And by automatically connecting the users, they get a lot more capacity and their users get a better experience because they're connected to the best possible connection at the same time. So we are, it's a monthly service for mobile operators.
Is it private labeled?
In the sense of, from an operator's perspective in terms of how they want to brand it, some operators choose that it's a system service that lives in the background. The user doesn't even know. Just like you don't know what cell tower you connect to, in this case you don't know what Wi-Fi access point you connect to, right? So you don't have to know about that particular connection as an end user. That's the best way to deploy it. Other operators have said, well, I'm providing now a data management service to my end user, and so therefore I want to tell them about that. I want to say, I'm helping you out from a monthly perspective. When we look at our data today, what we actually see is that Wi-Fi usage increases during the month. Right? So on a per user basis, in the beginning of the month, people use maybe 50-50, but then towards the end of the month, the amount of Wi-Fi is increasing, right? So why is that, right? People are trying to manage their monthly tiers and so forth, right? So if a carrier can take a step forward and say, here's an application that I can give you that actually helps you so you don't have to do all that self-management, I'll manage it for you, I'll manage you to that particular number, that's a great service for the end user.
David, thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.